A woman astonishingly becomes pregnant at 67, despite her husband being considered sterile. Aurora felt her heart race when she saw the pregnancy test displaying an unexpected result. Never in her life had she imagined she would carry a child in her womb. Emotions flooded over her like a tumultuous wave. She was surprised, confused, and at the same time marveling at the test result. When she shared the news with Jeremy, her 71-year-old husband, Aurora saw a mix of shock and joy in his eyes. The news of Aurora's pregnancy was an emotional earthquake for Jeremy, who was initially shocked and confused due to his infertility resulting from an infection he had in his youth, rendering him unable to conceive a child naturally. However, despite Jeremy's diagnosis of infertility due to an infection affecting his reproductive ability, Aurora's pregnancy was made possible through assisted reproductive techniques. Following the revelation of Jeremy's sterility, the couple explored alternative options to fulfill their dream of having a child. When they were younger, they lacked the financial means to realize this dream, but now, more mature, they were finally able to begin this journey at a specialized clinic in the city. Although somewhat incredulous, Aurora and Jeremy pursued in vitro fertilization. Due to Aurora's advanced age, even though she was in good health, conceiving naturally would have been nearly impossible. Therefore, she and Jeremy explored alternatives such as IVF to fulfill their dream of having a child. In the IVF process, Aurora underwent controlled stimulation to promote the development of multiple eggs in her ovaries. The mature eggs were then carefully collected in an outpatient procedure. Simultaneously, Jeremy's sperm was collected and prepared in the laboratory to fertilize Aurora's eggs. The resulting embryos were closely monitored to assess their viability and development. Aurora received specialized medical care throughout the IVF process, including careful monitoring of her health and well-being. The medical team closely followed Aurora's pregnancy to ensure the best outcome for her and her baby. Although Aurora's pregnancy at 67 presented unique challenges, advanced medical technology and specialized medical support made this dream possible. The news of Aurora's pregnancy caused a whirlwind of emotions among her relatives and friends. While some expressed joy and support for the elderly couple, others reacted with surprise, skepticism, and even ridicule. Aurora and Jeremy faced a roller coaster of emotions in response to the varied reactions from their loved ones. Jeremy, in particular, felt vulnerable and concerned about the judgment of those around him. He shared his anxieties with Aurora, expressing his insecurity regarding others' opinions. "I know it's unconventional, but it's our miracle," Aurora said, gently holding Jeremy's hand. We won't let negative comments shake us. This is our life, our dream." However, the biting remarks and ridicule did not go unnoticed by the family. During a gathering at the grandparents' house, Jeremy's niece commented disdainfully, "Are they playing at being parents in their old age? How absurd." One quiet afternoon, Aurora encountered a neighbor while retrieving the mail from the mailbox. "Aurora, I heard you're expecting a baby," the neighbor said, with a poorly disguised look of surprise. "Don't you think you're a bit old for this?" Maintaining her composure, Aurora replied with a polite smile, "It's never too late for a new beginning, is it?" The neighbor shook her head disapprovingly. Well, I hope you know what you're doing. Children need energy and vitality." These encounters with neighbors and acquaintances became a constant part of Aurora and Jeremy's lives as the pregnancy progressed. At a family gathering, a distant uncle couldn't contain his surprise. 67 years old and having a baby? That's madness," the uncle exclaimed, with a sarcastic laugh. Jeremy felt a wave of discomfort but remained calm. We are very happy with this new phase of our lives," he replied. Another relative, casting a critical glance at Aurora, added, "I hope you're taking care of yourself. Your age brings many risks." Aurora took a deep breath and responded with serenity, "We are under the care of the best doctors. We are confident that everything will be fine." The negative comments and expressions of doubt left Aurora and Jeremy feeling uncomfortable, but they found solace in each other. One quiet evening at home, Aurora shared her concerns with Jeremy. "Sometimes, it's hard to deal with so many opposing opinions," confessed Aurora, her eyes reflecting a mix of determination and vulnerability. Jeremy gently squeezed her hand. "The only opinion that truly matters is ours. We are doing this together, and we are committed to this baby, he affirmed, with conviction. As the months passed and Aurora's belly grew, the negative comments and critical glances persisted. During a chance encounter at the local grocery store, acquaintances whispered to each other while watching Aurora. "Did you see who's expecting a baby at 67? Absurd." The other person nodded disapprovingly. "I would never do that. It's madness." Aware of the stares, Aurora continued her shopping with dignity. The tense atmosphere was palpable as Aurora and Jeremy listened to the whispers and observed the expressions of disapproval. Later, during a medical appointment, Aurora poured out her concerns to the obstetrician. "Doctor, how do we deal with so much negativity?" she asked, her voice laden with emotion. The doctor smiled kindly. "Aurora, you are about to receive a wonderful blessing. Don't let external noise overshadow the beauty of this moment." Meanwhile, Jeremy sought comfort in conversations with close friends. One of them, looking him in the eyes, said sincerely, "Jeremy, what matters is that you two are ready to love this baby with all your hearts. The rest is just noise." Amidst the emotional turmoil, Aurora shared an intimate moment with Jeremy. "Darling, remember why we're doing this. We both want to share our love with a new life, no matter what others say." Aurora was doing the laundry when she felt a sharp pain in her lower abdomen. She called out for Jeremy. Adrenaline rushed through Jeremy's body as Aurora began to go into labor. He helped her quickly leave the house and rush to the car. His heart pounded as he drove towards the hospital, worried about what was to come. On the way, Aurora held Jeremy's hand tightly, her eyes reflecting a mixture of anxiety and determination. "It's okay, dear," Jeremy said, trying to convey calmness. "Oh, we're almost there." Aurora nodded, her breath quickening as the contractions intensified. "I know, Jeremy. I'm just a bit nervous," she admitted, her voice trembling slightly. Upon arriving at the hospital, Jeremy helped Aurora out of the car carefully. He held her hand firmly as they made their way to the reception. Jeremy's face showed concern, but also unwavering determination to support his wife during this crucial moment. In the hospital waiting room, Jeremy sat beside Aurora, offering her comfort and support. He held her hand as they waited to be taken to the delivery room. Time seemed to drag on as Jeremy watched Aurora cope with the pains of labor. Some of their relatives also came to the hospital, worried about what might happen. In the hospital waiting room, family tensions reached a peak as heated debates and gossip circulated around Aurora's unusual pregnancy. Relatives grouped into distinct clusters, some expressing legitimate concerns while others cast doubts and made hurtful comments. In one corner of the room, some relatives continued to debate, openly questioning Aurora and Jeremy's decision. Did they even think about the consequences of this? "It's so irresponsible," murmured an aunt, concerned about Aurora and the baby's health. As they waited in the delivery room, Jeremy approached Aurora affectionately. "You're amazing, dear. We're almost there," he said, trying to encourage her. Aurora smiled weakly, her face pale, but her eyes shining with emotion. "Thank you for being by my side, Jeremy. I couldn't do this without you." Aurora felt her heart race as she waited in the hospital waiting room. Beside her, Jeremy tried to conceal the worry in his eyes, but it was clear that both were grappling with an overwhelming mix of emotions. News of medical complications due to Aurora's advanced age and health issues cast a shadow over the already tense waiting room atmosphere. The murmurs of relatives and friends around only intensified Aurora's anxiety. She could hear the whispers laden with concern and uncertainty. Some quietly questioned whether Aurora and Jeremy had fully considered the risks associated with pregnancy at such an advanced age. "Do they really know what they're getting into?" muttered a cousin, with a worried expression. Aurora felt a lump in her throat. She and Jeremy had waited so long for this moment, but now they faced unforeseen obstacles. She held Jeremy's hand tightly, seeking comfort in his touch. "Oh, Jeremy, I'm scared," she confessed softly, pouring out her anguish. Jeremy looked at Aurora tenderly, wishing he could dispel all her worries with a simple gesture. "I know, dear. But we're in this together. We'll face each challenge one step at a time," he replied, his voice conveying determination and love. Meanwhile, debates and gossip continued among the relatives. Some expressed their doubts openly, unaware of the emotional impact their words had on Aurora and Jeremy. Have you stopped to think about the consequences of all this?" questioned an older uncle, his expression laden with concern. Aurora felt a mixture of frustration and sadness in the face of her relative's doubts. She knew the road ahead would be challenging, but she was determined to press on. "Jeremy, sometimes it feels like we're fighting against everything and everyone," she admitted, her voice wavering with emotion. Jeremy gently squeezed Aurora's hand, trying to convey all his support and love. "We're defying expectations, but what matters is our love and determination," he responded, his eyes meeting hers in a gesture of solidarity. When the moment finally arrived for Aurora to be taken to the delivery room, the tension in the waiting room reached a new level. Jeremy felt a tightness in his chest as he watched his beloved being led by the doctors, with worry mingling with a sense of helplessness. The faces around him reflected the same mix of fear and hope. Minutes seemed to drag on as everyone anxiously awaited news. Jeremy was so immersed in his own emotions that he barely noticed the whispers and shared glances among the relatives. Each second felt like an eternity, and he struggled to maintain his composure. In the waiting room, the murmurs and worried expressions spoke volumes more than words could express. Will she be okay?" asked a cousin, tears welling up in her eyes. Uncertainty hung in the air, feeding everyone's fear and apprehension. Jeremy closed his eyes for a moment, seeking to find strength to face the unknown. He felt as if he were on an emotional roller coaster, oscillating between hope and despair. "You can do this, my love," he whispered to himself, as if his words could reach Aurora in the delivery room. Meanwhile, the grandmother approached quietly, placing a comforting hand on Jeremy's shoulder. "Keep the faith, my dear. Your love will be your strength," she said softly, conveying a sense of comfort amidst the agony. Jeremy's nephew, frustrated with the speculations and hurtful comments, approached a group of relatives. "It doesn't matter what they think. What matters is that this baby is a blessing to us. Let's support Jeremy and Aurora no matter what," he said, his voice filled with determination. Minutes turned into an eternity as finally a doctor emerged from the delivery room. The silence in the waiting room was deafening, everyone awaiting the crucial news about Aurora's fate. The doctor, with a serious expression, glanced around the room before meeting Jeremy's anxious gaze. "There have been complications due to Aurora's advanced age and health issues that arose after the pregnancy," he said calmly, but his voice carried the weight of the situation. Jeremy felt the ground shift beneath his feet. The doctor's words echoed in his mind as he tried to process the implications of the complications. He needed to be strong, not just for himself, but for Aurora. As the doctor continued to provide updates on Aurora's condition, the waiting room transformed into a sea of emotions. Some relatives cried silently, while others tried to remain steadfast. Jeremy felt a whirlwind of overwhelming emotions, fear, sadness, and a fierce determination to stand by Aurora no matter what obstacles came their way. While awaiting further updates, Jeremy sought solace in memories of happy moments shared with Aurora. He remained rooted in the waiting room, his mind and heart fully devoted to Aurora. He prayed silently for a positive outcome, keeping the flame of hope alive amidst adversity. After an agonizing wait in the hospital room, Jeremy remained tense, with a tight heart, awaiting news about Aurora's condition. Each minute felt like an eternity, with anxiety hanging in the air, mixed with a glimmer of hope. Finally, the doors opened and a nurse appeared, smiling with bright eyes. Jeremy finally received the news that Aurora had successfully given birth. His heart raced as a nurse called him, indicating that he could finally meet his newborn child. A whirlwind of emotions overtook him as he hurriedly followed the nurse through the hospital corridors. "Mr. Smith?" called the nurse, and Jeremy immediately stood up, his heart pounding in his chest. Yes, how is Aurora? And the baby?" Jeremy could barely contain his excitement and nervousness. "Aurora successfully gave birth to a beautiful baby, despite medical challenges," announced the nurse, her reassuring smile easing some tension in the room. "Both are stable, but she is still recovering. You can see her briefly." Jeremy felt a wave of relief and joy flooding his being. He could hardly believe that, despite everything, Aurora and their baby were okay. He followed the nurse down the hallway, his heart overflowing with gratitude and emotion. Entering the room, Jeremy saw Aurora lying in bed, looking tired but serene. She smiled upon seeing him and extended her hand, inviting him to come closer. Jeremy held her hand tenderly, feeling a mix of love and relief at seeing his beloved wife after childbirth. Beside her, a small, fragile, perfect being slept peacefully in a hospital crib. Jeremy felt a lump in his throat as he realized the reality before him. It was their child, the unexpected fruit of a miracle that seemed impossible. "Aurora, my love, how are you feeling?" Jeremy asked softly, concerned for her well-being. "Still a bit tired, but happy," replied Aurora, her eyes shining as she looked at the newborn beside her. "Oh, we did it, Jeremy. Our little miracle is here." "Aurora, is he our son?" Jeremy asked, his voice mixing admiration with disbelief at what was unfolding. Aurora smiled, her eyes shining with tenderness. Yes, Jeremy. He is our little miracle," she replied, her voice full of emotion. Jeremy looked at the baby with admiration and indescribable tenderness. He was so small and perfect, a testament to their love and perseverance. He's beautiful, Aurora. What should we name our son?" Jeremy carefully reached out and gently touched the baby's soft cheek. A feeling of warmth and love began to seep into his heart. He looked into the baby's closed eyes and felt a deep emotional connection. Aurora smiled, delicately stroking the baby's cheek. "I haven't decided yet, but I know we'll find the perfect name for him." Jeremy stayed by Aurora's side, absorbing the moment of pure happiness and gratitude. Despite the challenges and complications, they had overcome together. Life is a precious gift, and now they have a new life to care for and love. In the waiting room, family members received the news with a mix of relief and joy. Murmurs of concern were replaced by smiles and hugs, everyone celebrating the arrival of the new family member. But Jeremy knew Aurora would need time to fully recover, and they would face challenges as they adjusted to life with the baby. As Jeremy held Aurora's hand and looked at their son, he felt a profound sense of gratitude and love. The future was full of possibilities, and he was ready to face every moment alongside his beloved family. A mix of emotions enveloped him as he held his son in his arms for the first time. Doubt was replaced by deep joy and gratitude. He was determined to be the best father he could be, to support Aurora, and to care for this little being with all the love he had to give. As night fell over the hospital, Jeremy remained by Aurora and the baby's side, enveloped by the promise of a new tomorrow. They had been through so many trials, but now they were together, ready to face the unknown with courage and determination. Tell me here in the comments if you would have the same courage and determination as Aurora to become a mother even at an advanced age. Or if you would choose other ways to become a mother. Now enjoy another very emotional story. Just click to watch. Thank you and see you in the next video.